everyone, and welcome back to the show. So today, something a bit different. Rather than most complimented fragrances, fragrances with the best performance and all that kind of thing, I thought, let's talk about exquisitely beautiful fragrances. Wouldn't that be a nice change from the mainstream fragrance review channels? I thought so. Before we do that, let me remind you that if you're looking for fragrance samples, my recommended USA-based fragrance sampling site is the Fragrance Decant Boutique. That's decantboutique.com. I have a code. The code MrSmelly10 gets you 10% off across their stunning range of designer, niche, and artisanal fragrances. My recommended UK-based fragrance sampling site is Fragrance Samples UK, and that code MrSmelly10 also works there. An amazing range of fragrances there also, and both sites are linked in the description of this video. They are personally recommended by me, Mr. Smelly. Okay, 3 really exquisite fragrances which sort of, I don't know, somehow fit the ever so slightly melancholy feel of September as summer is over and the leaves begin to turn brown, but it can be a beautiful, beautiful month, I think, so, September. I kind of like autumn in a way. Okay, let's get stuck into this. Which one was I going to do first? Let's do Chanel Boy. Haven't talked about this one for a while. Boy du Chanel, Chanel Boy 2016 release, and it was, of course, Olivier Polge who composed this one. This is in the exclusives range, so a £215 price tag for a 75ml bottle. I think there's a larger bottle, and that would be better value per mil, but it's going to be expensive. It's an aromatic fougere. It's extremely powdery and dandyish, and even a little bit effeminate in a very charming way. So note listing is lavender, grapefruit, lemon, geranium. You've got orange blossom, rose, white musk, heliotrope, sandalwood, vanilla, and moss, with coumarin as well in there. So for me, this one, it opens a little bit lemony and soapy, but it has this real kind of talcum powder thing, and definitely you sense this floral aura. I have to be honest, I didn't pick out massively that it was obviously rose and orange blossom to me, but when you combine those two notes in a fragrance, you're going to lean a little bit towards a more feminine feel. It's a very dapper, not even dapper, no, dandyish. It's a dandyish fragrance for a man who doesn't need to pump out a smell that's really manly, because he's just manly in and of himself, okay? So I really enjoy this one. It is very unisex. Not everyone's going to take to it. It's powdery. It's not the most masculine thing I've ever smelled in my life, and it has an old school type of feel, but it's got that Chanel magic. It's exquisitely composed. It's very, very high quality, and I love Chanel Boy. What do you think about that one? Have you tried it? Next up, we've got another one that I always really, really enjoy, and this is New York Intense from Nicolai. Nicolai New York Intense 2014 release. They had an old one called New York, which wasn't intense, and that was a 1989 release. The perfume critic, the famous and slightly controversial critic. Have you seen he said some rude things about fragrances recently, and people are getting a bit fed up with him. I thought he'd retired, and then he came back. Some people seem to wish he had stayed retired. I like him. He has an acerbic wit, and his books are rather good. Anyway, New York Original was his favourite for years, and then he complained that the formula had gone wrong, and then they released the Intense version, and he said, how wonderful, they've recaptured the magic. So I don't know what happened. Who cares? Oak moss, bergamot, lavender, citron, pepper, cloves, petitgrain, castoreum, what comes out of the beaver's rear end, civet, what comes out the civet cat's rear end, cinnamon, artemisia, thyme, musk, vanilla, incense, chamomile, and styrax. Don't worry, doesn't smell animalic or foul or poopy. Again, it's powdery, but it's much more warm and spicy than the aforementioned Chanel Boy. So it really does have that dapper, gentlemanly, aromatic fougere, talcum powder type of feel, leaning a little bit more masculine than the other one to me, although either one can work really, really well. Reminiscent of a day in Paris in spring with a loved one, if that's ever happened to you. Or no, not spring, autumn. More of a melancholy autumn feel, I feel, with this one. It works really well in spring too. Powdery, spicy, beautiful aromatic fougere, sometimes compared in passing to Bois de Portugal by Creed, one of my other favourites, but less green and bitter, a little bit more sweet than that one, but not overwhelmingly sweet. Utterly charming, very dapper, exquisite. I really do think it has an exquisite tone about it. And finally, Acqua di Parma's Colonia Intensa works so great around this time of year. So this one was released back in 2007 and luckily remains in the lineup. It's such a shame they discontinued Assoluta, which I also love. But anyway, Francois Demarchi with Alberto Marias, two really famous master perfumers, teamed up for this one. And price-wise, this one not quite so horrendous. I think I found it for about £79 in the UK for 100ml, which is really good online. Bergamot, ginger, crucially, cardamom, lemon, neroli, artemisia, myrtle, leather, cedar, benzoin musk, and patchouli. So this one, less obviously a real soapy, citrus, aromatic type fragrance, as are some of their other famous colognes, like the original Colonia, the aforementioned Colonia Assoluta, Essenza, etc., etc. But Colonia Pura too, really like that one too. But this one, a little bit more woody and spicy and richer. It does have that still that kind of clean, citrusy, tiny bit soapy aura, but the spice, the key thing there is the ginger thing. And you think, oh, ginger, should that be in a fragrance? I don't want to smell like a gingerbread man. I don't want to smell like other things that have ginger ale. I like ginger ale, it's nice. Anyway, it's subtly done. It's so well incorporated with the other notes, so you get a really reassuring, masculine, exquisite, tasteful air with this one. All of these three have decent performance in my book. None of them are rudely in your face or obnoxious, and they don't smell like some of the modern things that have these aroma chemicals that make them pump out into the air a little bit more forcefully. And some people like that, and that's a great thing. But I prefer this kind of exquisite, tasteful beauty. What do you think about that? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe. Also, you can get an extra video, an exclusive video, if you become a channel member each week. Or if you don't want to join a YouTube channel, the same video, the same content will be also there exclusively, or not exclusive, well, those two places, because it's not exclusive, therefore, on Patreon too. Mr. Smelly 1977 is what you need to type in Patreon, or it's linked down there. I'll leave it there. Let me know what you thought of the video, and I will see you in the next one. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project, and although life sometimes may stink, at least we can always smell good, right? That's the bit where I do the thumbnail. Sorry, but bye. You were supposed to have left by now.